Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where last episode we were working on our standard of living issues, and we have addressed some of them, to be sure. Over here in Illinois, things are definitely looking up. They're not perfect yet, but the GDP in Illinois is soaring. So that definitely indicates that this is exactly what we need to work on. So that looks good for now. And the real question then is, how long will it take us to construct both of these? How much in debt would we need to go to do it? Well, let's see if laissez-faire goes through here. We immediately hit a stall. Okay. We're rolling incredibly badly on this. It's fine. It doesn't actually matter all that much. So that's absolutely okay. We'll see if that fails. It probably will, but who knows? You never can tell. So right now, we're working on building up some finances. We're up to 514k population, and our standard of living has soared to 11. So that's definitely a big step in the right direction. That looks good. Our GDP is hovering around 1 million now, and that is also very good. So checking in down here, we can see that the GDP of Illinois has basically doubled. That's a very good sign. We need to do the same thing in Ohio, but Ohio is going to have a significant population issue, I think. Very significant. Okay. Well, that's definitely going to be a bit of a problem. Checking in here, yeah, we can see that the standard of livings across the board are definitely coming up. Ohio is where we need to address next, certainly. So let's get working on that as soon as we can. The question is, do we want to go into debt to do it? We're working our way out of our current debt, and that's going to take a little while. We're not spending much on interest or on welfare. Mostly we're spending on government wages right now, and that's not necessarily surprising. That is mostly from our government administration, and we are negative in bureaucracy right now, but we have this 12% timed modifier, so I'm not very concerned about that at this time. So that looks reasonably good for now, and I'm really not expecting anything to happen with laissez-faire here at this point. We're up to 11.5, so I mean, our standard of living is soaring right now. That's really good. It's the highest it's been for a long time. So that is absolutely fine. We're actually close to being in the top 50 on standard of living now. So that would mean that we would be gaining... Oh, our GDP per capita dropped below the top 50 now? Just barely. Okay, noted. Well, we're going to need to continue to work on that, of course. That is absolutely fine. Oil discovered in Timbuktu. And actually, we must have had a... Stall again. Okay, yeah, sure. We must have had a privatization. So let's go ahead and start constructing our logging camp in United Indian, Ohio. So that looks good for now. And minus 6k? Sure. That seems absolutely fine for the moment. So we'll get this logging camp built. And then we're going to hopefully get the logging camp in Indiana built as well. I don't think we can get both done, can we? With this amount of gold reserves? Probably not. At the very least, this will get us a good source of jobs in United Indian, Ohio, which is absolutely a necessity. We've got the vineyards and the maize farms, but agriculture doesn't seem to be great for us. Resource extraction is definitely the way to go for right now. So that looks fine for the moment. And there's a transportation shortage in Illinois. Really? Why is that? Oh, this is on rail transportation. It shouldn't be. Let's turn that off of rail transportation because we don't have a railway in Illinois. There's no reason to have that be on rail transportation. So we'll take that off of there. And that should help matters here significantly. Oh yeah, look at that productivity. Excellent. Okay, so we've got an election going on here. This is, I mean, the Liberal Party with a huge amount of momentum here. Let's see, minus 10% momentum to the Agrarian Party, and Minnesota would get a mysteriously mismanaged rail network. Honestly, it's going to be stressed either way, but I don't think we care that much about momentum for the Agrarian Party right now. So I'm going to choose the lesser amount of stressing there. And let's see how our railway here is doing. Okay, we've still got some work to do on that, so that seems absolutely fine. Excellent. Okay, so checking in on our logging camp here in Illinois, productivity is definitely way up, and the GDP should be coming up a little bit, but that needs jobs. We need to grow into that. Now, we are in debt at this moment, and we've got 2 weeks left on this logging camp. Okay, let's finish it. We'll come out of debt slowly, to be sure, but that should be fine. And we probably are going to need to also come in here and turn off rail transportation. Yeah, there we go. So that is off. Excellent. We don't have a railway in Ohio, so no rail transportation there. Okay, now we are paused on our construction, and we're about 20K in debt. Sure, maybe we see a privatization, but we are working our way out of this. That said, our interest payment is painful. No doubt about that. But if we go in here and we look at these logging camps, they're not hiring yet. Like I said, there's going to be an employment issue here. And yeah, this is not surprising that laissez-faire fails. Deeply unsurprising there. So I would like to try cultural exclusion again. We have a good chance of passing it looks like. So let's see what that looks like. Checking in on Michigan, let's take a look at how many we have in Bulgarians at this point. So 54K. I mean, it's still pretty high, right? That's still a decent chunk of the population. So we're working on assimilating them, but that's slow going. Minus 539. We're going to have to briefly raise taxes. Okay. This is because our GDP took a giant tank. Okay, that's exciting. So rotary valve engines are unlocked, and we can definitely swap over to that for our motor industry, and our railways, they can actually go over to steel passenger carriages, which would be good. We can also take them up to steam trains, which we're interested in doing. So we only have railways built, I believe, in 2 states right now. Is that correct? Correct. Michigan and Minnesota thus far. So if we check in on Michigan here, this is going to absolutely tank the productivity, and that's expected because we are very heavily utilizing this transportation, right? So yeah, that's going to continue to tank down that price. That's a very good thing. So now here we can check in on Minnesota here, and we can see we're still struggling a bit with jobs here, but we hired in nicely, and yeah, that's beginning to drop the price of transportation there as well. So that looks good. Our GDP is actually recovering back up somewhat, so that's excellent. Dynamite! That's really good. Okay, so we're going to hop over to our iron mines. We're going to jump straight down to dynamite, and that'll be wonderful. Okay, next what we can do is we can start going after, looks like reinforced concrete is being exposed. Sure. We could go after electrical generation and start doing some electrification eventually. The Liberal Party wants to campaign by rail, also in Minnesota. Sure. We'll accept that. So that seems fine, and you can see here, our railway is negative in its productivity. This is not surprising. This is because we are massively increasing our throughput. It's fine. Absolutely A-okay. They're going to start firing some workers eventually, and those workers will probably start working in some of these other locations. So that seems reasonably good for now. So we are still making some money here. It's not a huge amount, and let's see what happens here. We immediately progress up to study on cultural exclusion. Okay, I mean, odds are good here. We've got a 53% chance of a good roll at this point, so that looks fine. As far as why our GDP tanked like that, this is probably... Oh, market access. 48% market access. Are we being blockaded? We are probably being blockaded, is my guess. Connected via the British shipping lane through the ports of Lancashire and Newfoundland. So, yeah. We're up over here and then trying to ship out over here. It's because of this British reactionary revolt. This is what's happening. So that's why our GDP tanked. That's just a greater effect of the British market. So I'm not too concerned about that. There's not much we can do about it other than just wait for that war to be over. So that sounds good for now. Of course, with the tanking GDP and the raised taxes, that does mean that our standard of living is going to be dropping, and that's definitely not ideal. Our GDP per capita also not so great right now. So there's not a lot of great stuff going on at this exact moment. That's fine. So the Liberal Party wins with 87.5% of the vote. We are currently a righteous government 90. We could kick the industrialists out and have 93, but honestly, I think we're fine where we are. So for the moment, that looks okay. And who is actually supporting this? This is modernists, and opposing this is Confederate Army and the Great Medicine Society. Sure. So Great Britain is enforcing military access here. This is against the British reactionary revolt. And yeah, this is definitely the reason why our market access is low. So I'm not too concerned about that. Our market access will improve. Eventually. I hope. Canada wants to offer us military assistance. We accept that. Fantastic. So that looks fine for now. Let's see what happens with cultural exclusion here. Our odds have dropped a little bit over the course of this phase. Advance. Okay, beautiful. 15% enactment success chance. Done. So that brings us up to 35. That came entirely out of debate. That's huge. That means we now have a 62% chance of a good roll on this. I like it. As you can see, our income is definitely improving. And this is expected as our GDP recovers from this shock, which it hasn't fully done yet, but that's okay for the moment. So we're interested in definitely building another one of those logging camps, but at the moment, we don't have a great situation for that. Our market access overall is just absolutely abysmal, but this isn't surprising given what's going on over here. So it looks like the British reactionaries are probably going to win this, if I had to guess. That's interesting. I'm assuming we will remain their vassal, and this is basically just going to be a different interest group that's in charge, fundamentally. But we'll see. Of course, there's also all of the British Empire troops that are going to show up eventually. They're on their way, so that might change things once they actually arrive. They're starting to come in. So we'll see what happens with that. Also, if the British can clean up this Irish front over here and just hold on the home counties front, that would be a pretty good situation for them. Then they can pivot over. Law debate failure. We lost 10% enactment success chance here. That's okay. It's not a great roll, but, you know, it's fine for now. So we're back up to 1 million, and that's even with our market access continuing to tank. Our standard of living is absolutely plummeting, though. So I would like to cut our taxes. We're not yet in a position where we can do that, though. Our standard of living is absolutely abysmal right now, and this is entirely due to the market access. That's 100% the issue there. So Britain really messed up here. There's not much we can do about it at this point. We'll just let this continue to rage, and hopefully it gets over fairly soon. That would be for the best for us. No doubt about that. Looks like we got a privatization at some point. So let's get working on our logging camp in Indiana. That'll be good. If our GDP is at 1 million with 25% market access, it's going to be insane once we get higher market access. Yeah, we have famine going on here. Our food security is very low. We import most of our food. We can't make, like, we can't make any fish production in the Great Lakes, which is very surprising to me. I would think that we would be able to, but this is not an option in here. There's no fish production. These aren't considered coastal, which very much surprises me. I guess it's because these are technically classified as lakes, but I mean, I live in this area. I happen to know that there is a large amount of fishing that happens in these lakes. Minus 10% dependence income. Okay, sure. And then this is going to be... Who is this guy? His ideology is a slaver? No. Get out of here. We're going to pass on that one. Generous donations. Ah, Newfoundland and the Confederate States of America are both offering us famine donations. We'll accept it from Newfoundland. Excellent. So our standard of living is terrible. This is because of our food import. And this is, of course, because of this war. The war will eventually end. It looks like the British are losing it, and we want this war to end sooner rather than later. To be honest, I don't really care who wins it. I just want the war to be over. So we're going to pause construction here. We don't really want to go too negative, so there we go. Modern nursing has been unlocked. Okay, cool. But yeah, our overall market access situation is terrible. Our market access is currently 6%. We really, really want this war to end. Ah, I see. Russia is helping them. So with Russia in this, yeah, the reactionaries are going to win this, for sure. We just want this war to be over as soon as possible. This war is absolutely wreaking havoc on us. So my question is, if we look at our current standard of living, this is probably due to the price of fish, if I had to guess. Fish, groceries, and clothes. Yeah. So this is not at all surprising. So we need to be importing some fish, if we can, certainly. Grain is expensive. Meat is currently expensive. We're not very food independent at this time. And we can't really get very food independent at this time. So that is absolutely a concern. We could think about importing some fish, though, or groceries. These would all theoretically be negative, but we might want to do it anyway. So that would be one set of groceries coming in, and let's get some fish coming in as well. So that would be these guys here. We'll import both of these. Okay, so that will get us some of that going. Grain might not be a terrible thing to import either, but we do produce some grain. So I would like to see people working in these maize farms. Productivity is absolutely nil because the grain price is minus 73 here. So we were just exporting our grain. We can eat it domestically though. Okay, whatever. Apparently people really don't want to eat grain. Well, that's fine for now. And of course, our market access is at 0%. We are currently isolated, and that's absolutely understood. Cultural exclusion is in debate here, and we can absolutely try to force this issue through. The Bulgarians aren't okay with it, even though it will actually help them, but, you know, whatever. We have to raise taxes further. Oh, boy. We're just straight up negative here. We need this war to end. This has to end. So, we're going to take debt here. We're going to sit at minimum taxation to try to help our standard of living as much as possible. But we need this war over. Yesterday. Our market access is abysmal at this moment, and this has got to end. The British are currently at 0. What is their current capital? British. Great Britain. Yorkshire is their capital? Okay, yep. I'd love to see that get under control of the reactionaries. Eventually, this war will end. But for now, it's really, really bad for us. Incredibly, incredibly bad. Our market access is all the way at 0, and we just kind of can't do anything. We have a transportation shortage in Minnesota. Really? Okay. Our economy is doing wild things right now. We're very reliant on our trade with Great Britain, and we kind of can't trade with them right now. This is a bad situation for us economically. No doubt about it. This war's gotta end. So, I mean, that's also Austria. Austria and Russia are up here. Okay. Yeah. I'm hoping that they actually get Yorkshire occupied here and can start taking Britain negative. We're rolling badly on this cultural exclusion. We rolled another stall there. Our chances are still best that we have a good roll. So, Great Britain grants market control. they're permitting us to operate our own market, and we're no longer connected to theirs. Okay, so Great Britain just gave us our own market control because things were real bad. So we have a lot of shortages of various things, right? Especially bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is a big, big thing right now. And that's mostly because of this paper shortage. So we're going to need to import some paper. We can import that from the Confederates. We can import a lot of things, in fact. We're going to need to import huge numbers of things at this point. So we're just going to go through each of these. And we're going to import stuff as they are productive. There we go. So we're not a significant producer of engines. These are all going to be negative. We do have some source of engine production. Steel, not so much. Those are all negative right now. These are all negative. Tools, we will absolutely import. So we'll get all of those going. We're still going to be running a shortage of tools, I believe. Now, we have a fertilizer shortage at this moment. Those are negative, and we're expanding our explosives factory, so that's noted. We shouldn't need to get this going too much then, but we can get this trade route in. And of course, we have a famine going on. There's an iron shortage. We produce our own iron, but we'll import some more. Okay. Now, we're at minus 4.48k right now. And our taxation is basically no change. This is due to our bureaucracy. Our bureaucracy is extraordinarily negative right now. We may have to declare bankruptcy due to the British War. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But we have basically no taxation capacity because of our bureaucracy. So we need to expand our bureaucracy. That is very, very clear at this point. So this is going to be 65. That means that we need 2 of these. Those need to go into Indiana. And we need to build them fast. So we're going to get that going. And we're probably going to have to declare bankruptcy here. I think that there's no real doubt about that. Look at our GDP. Oh, boy. So, yeah, we have a lot that we need to do. No doubt about that. This is going to be rough. This is all Britain's fault, of course. So that is a significant issue, no doubt about it. But we'll get these government administrations built, and they should get built fairly quickly. We'll also, hopefully, I think we'll just build until we go bankrupt at this point. So that'll be a semi-useful thing anyway. We'll see what happens with cultural exclusion. Not too much great going on there. Yeah, our people are very upset right now. And, I mean, it's not our fault. This is entirely Britain's fault. Okay, so this is currently a revolution, and they are ethno-nationalists. So we've rolled poorly on this. We can just get rid of this. That should get that revolution to go away. There we go. So no more revolution there. Now, proposal for trade agreement with the Confederates. Yes, we accept that. That sounds great. We need to get our market under control. So actually, our bureaucracy is looking a lot better now. I'm going to cancel this government administration. We still need 1 at this point. So we can cancel 1 of those. That's good. And we're going to get this logging camp in Indiana built for sure. And yes, our construction efficiency is negative due to our bureaucracy, I believe. Or actually, probably just due to our turmoil. Our turmoil is very, very high, and this is not at all shocking. This is due to our standard of living drop. But for the moment, our standard of living is starting to come back up, and that should be good. So there's that government administration finishing, and now we're working on the logging camp in Indiana, and then we're going to work on our railways again. So that looks fine for now, and at this point, I think we're so far in debt, and our economy was so fragile beforehand, that we're going to have to declare bankruptcy. That's okay. We'll just build until we declare bankruptcy. So that sounds good. Our GDP is beginning to recover, but man, the British really messed us up. So I want to check in on the price of engines. Okay, so if we check in on our motor industry, yeah, this is mostly due to the steel shortage. So we could definitely use importing some steel, even at negative productivity. We should probably... Okay, just that one fixed it. Perfect. So now we no longer have a steel shortage. There is still a tooling shortage. Or not really a shortage, but tools are still high-priced. That's understood. We no longer have an engine shortage because we are producing some engine. Looks good. There is a fertilizer shortage, and I'm going to import some fertilizer. There we go. So now we no longer have shortages there, although we still apparently have a grain shortage. We do produce grain, but we can import a little bit of grain. There's still a paper shortage, and we can't import any more paper for now. So there's a meat shortage. We could import a little bit of that. And then a fruit shortage. We can import a little bit of that too. So something along the lines of that. So paper and grain. Understood. We are producing grain, so this is absolutely fine for our maize farms. We'll let all of that work. What we do need is we need some tool production. So a tooling workshop, we were previously entirely reliant on Britain for that. Oh, there's a private construction for it queued. Beautiful. So we don't need that. Instead, let's put in a paper mill, and this is going to go in Indiana. So I put this in at the top of the queue, but I'm going to finish this logging camp first. Okay, so a paper mill going in there, and we have a tooling workshop coming in. Grain shouldn't be a problem. So all we've got now is paper, tools, and fabric. Fabric, I believe, comes from livestock ranches, as does meat. So we should probably consider building at least one of these. This would be best in Indiana, but I'm actually going to put this in Michigan, where there are some job seekers. So that would take 24 weeks. I'll do that after the paper mill. Okay, so we're just going to build at this point until we are out of debt. And I don't mean until we are no longer in debt. I mean until we can't build up any more debt. At which point we'll declare bankruptcy and we'll be a little bit more cautious again. Excellent. So our standard of living is climbing back up. Our GDP is rough still. We're still struggling a bit, but that's understood. So we're finishing up that. Excellent. And if we look at the price of goods in our market at this point, I'm going to sort by market price, and I want this to be in negative. So we can see at this point, we should probably be looking to export sugar, although that's all negative in productivity. Okay, well, what about fertilizer? Can we export any fertilizer? We're currently importing it, aren't we? Yes. We can actually cancel that trade route. Now there's a fertilizer shortage. Okay. That's understood. We will deal with that. That'll get dealt with this livestock ranch. So that seems okay for now. So what else do we have here? Steel, we're importing. Meat, that seems fine. Wine, we can definitely look at exporting, although that's not really very profitable at this moment. So that's understood. We can colonize Sioux, Minnesota, and we should definitely be doing that. There we go. So that looks good. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to try to dig ourselves out of this hole that Britain put us in a little bit. But the fact that we have our own market control now is not terrible. That's a pretty decent thing, but we definitely need to do some work on our market. No doubt about that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.